Hello, everyone. Um, Welcome back to the stream. It is July 6th. I hope everyone had a good 4th of July weekend for those in America. For everyone else, I just hope it was a good weekend, I guess. Um, and we'll get started. Um, 1 second. There we go. Okay, so last time on Dragon Ball Z, we populated our database with a couple products. Oop, not in Postgres, over here. And if I run it, should get a couple. Hopefully that's all still working. Should have limited it. All right. Yep, here we go. And from here, we're pretty much ready to start hooking this up to our Flutter side. We also created the server endpoints in Rust. Is the music a little bit too loud? It's slightly loud for me. There we go. Although this song gets kind of like terrible at the end. There we go. Yep, so we built our product router where we could select any product given a UPC or EAN code. And just while I'm here, I remembered I should probably limit this to 1 and limit this to 1 just in case. Although we should probably end up making the codes unique at the end of the day. So there should only be 1, but just in case so that we don't get a random internal server error for no reason. So if we go ahead and start the server, we can now begin hooking it up in Flutter. So just to remind everyone and myself, in the scan barcode confirmation dialog, we are supposed to actually grab that product now and then display a little thing sort of indicating, hey, this is the product that you just scanned. Is this the one that you meant to? And, do you want to add this to your food diary or whatever we're calling it? Food journal. So before we do that, though, we have to fix up our models here. So we have something called basic table, which was an abstract class that we were just kind of hooking on to everything just briefly, just to get, an ID, date created, date modified, and deleted just squared away. But we don't need that anymore because I went ahead and grabbed another project I worked on called Driftweaver. Driftweaver is pretty strange. It's a Flutter procedural macro, a Dart procedural macro, basically. Hold on, let me just do all the Flutter pub gets here. That way, it's not just errors on errors. You know what? Let's also just, while we're doing it, Flutter pub upgrade major versions. We'll even no changes, and then same for dev. And then same for example. There we go. Now everything is up to date. So what this project does is sort of create more abstract classes, right? Called Driftweaver tables. And what these do is create a whole bunch of helper functions. Smidge too quiet now. How's that? That should be better. I'll just lower the volume on my headphones. Cool. Okay, so what this will do is it will contain information like our table name, any category that the tables should belong to. It'll get primary keys, handle JSON encoding, as well as cloning and copying. So what this really kind of goes with is the drift package. So the drift package is pretty cool. It's pretty much a big wrapper around SQLite. So it is, in my opinion, the best Flutter implementation of SQLite. So it uses SQLite, as I said, but what is cool is it's an async sort of model on top of it, right? So if you've used anything like SQL Flight, I think is what it's called. SQL Flight. Yeah. Maybe they updated it, but a while ago it was just pretty much synchronous, which is well, not it's obviously it uses async, but sorry, it's single isolate. So you can't really do any good concurrency with it. So if you're using doing a query in one isolate and then you try and do a query in a different one, it will lock the database, and you'll kind of just get stuck. In a previous project, that was incredibly annoying for me. It's not terrible if it's super basic, saving things, but for anything that uses a lot of data and that will be writing and reading from repeatedly, especially anything that uses a different isolate, I highly recommend Drift. It's much better in my opinion. It's super cool because it will actually create its own isolate in the background that it will ferry all of the queries and everything to, which ends up being more efficient at the end of the day, at least in terms of not locking everything up. So we now have to go back through and attach the Driftweaver table stuff to it. What Driftweaver is, it's sort of a wrapper on top of Drift, which is in itself a wrapper of SQLite. And this just handles a bunch of basic stuff that anyone would need, where you don't have to write out all the SQL by hand, as well as kind of doing the job of freezed, if you know that package, which freezed is another code generator that makes like JSON stuff, as well as equal to's, things like that. It's pretty good, but it doesn't really work for the style of things that I like to, the project layouts I like. But it's pretty good. You could by all means use that instead. Driftweaver is not available publicly or anything like that. It's my own thing. So all of this stuff should be deletable Driftweavers. Deletable purely meaning you can delete it. There's a basic one where it's just Driftweaver. that doesn't contain any sort of deleted flag or anything like that. Then there's updatable Driftweaver, and then there's deletable Driftweaver. In the future, you'll see why all that exists. But we're not there yet. So we'll leave it as a surprise. That way we can get started on what's actually relevant today. Since I've been rambling for the last 10 minutes. To nobody. Okay. And then this one will just be a regular Driftweaver because the product stuff comes directly from the server, and we will never be yes to you. Never. But you're doing your own thing. Are you drawing, or are you catching up on Honkai Star Rail? Your gotchas on another screen. Wuthering Waves. Yeah, Wuthering Waves. That's a game. Yep. Just got Lupa last night. She's pretty fun. I also got Cartethia when she came out, but I find her to be less fun. Not enjoying her that much. So I splurged and got Lupa. But not her weapon, though. That would have been crazy. Give me 1 second. I need to clean my glasses. Can't see. Okay. And so now that we have this, we should be able to run this little command here, which runs our build runner. And the cool thing about this build runner is it's going to create all these separate files. Should happen pretty quick, given that there's only like, what, 8 in here? 7? Okay, and then that outputted like a ton of files. And so if we take, we'll go back to product. If we take product, for instance, it'll create this .weaver .dart, which is the auto-generated code by Driftweaver. It defines our drift columns specifically, as well as automatically does the instance passing back and forth, and table companions. All this stuff is drift specific, but the cool part that we're going to use right now is the to and from JSON. So when we get stuff from the server, it's super easy. Okay. So, in utilities, we're gonna want a server utility function. I guess we'll just call it server. So server utils. And what this is going to handle is all of our DO stuff. So DO, not DO Brando, it's an HTTP package. I don't know why they called it DO. It's kind of strange. I wish they kind of told me. It's a... Dio means God in like Italian, but this is like a Chinese. This was made by a Chinese group, so I don't know. But it's really good. A little bit better than the default. HTTP package, which is fine. It's just this one is a little bit better about error handling and things like that. Mostly. Sometimes it can actually be a bit more of a pain, but it's pretty all right. So first we'll probably want to actually create our Dio client getter. We'll import Dio, and then we'll return Dio. And all of these will be static. So we're going to want a whole bunch of parameters that we can change at will. Actually, do we want... Yeah, I think we do want everything to be, what do you call it? Static here. Yeah, I think that's, I think that makes sense. So protocol. So it'll be sometimes HTTPS when we do it in production, it'll be HTTPS, but where's our, where we define whether we're in debug mode? Moth debug controller. So if moth debug controller is in production, then we want it to be HTTPS. Otherwise, we want it to be HTTP. You know what? Given that this can change by how we define it all the way here in main, we should not make any of this static. Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking we should make an actual true constructor for this stuff. Yeah, let's do it that way. So, let's do protocol. So if protocol is null, then we'll just use this little thing right here. Okay. Make this late. Then we'll do the same thing for host. Same thing. If we're in production, let me grab my own IP because the server is running on my computer. So it's 192.168.0.231. Let's copy that. Host. Yeah. Okay. And we'll just leave this as a to-do for later. To-do replace with production server URL. Same thing for port. I think it's actually 81. 81 is the one I go with. Sorry, let me get a drink. Sorry about that. Dorcas tried talking all the time. And then yeah, that should do it. And we may want like a API root, which can actually be nullable. But typically that's just going to be /API. Yeah, at all times. All right. Okay, so protocol. And we don't need the root quite right now. And we'll time out after, I think 30 seconds is too long. We'll do 15. And yeah, that should pretty much do it. Okay. And then we'll make a get method. I think this is a reserved word, so I'm not allowed to use it. Nope, nope, I'm allowed. Okay. So, we'll want to get our client. We'll want a path, query parameters, not options. How about headers? We'll add these to our default stuff. And we'll make this const. Can this fit on one? Yeah, all right. And then this will be called client. This dot client. Perfect. And then we'll do a get. So we want to do a get URI. Yeah, probably. We don't want any of this then stuff though. Actually, we'll pull this out. And oops, we get a response. And then return the data. And this needs to be async. Okay. I think that should do it. In the future, we'll have login paths and things like that, but for right now, I think this is okay. And we might as well make, just for the moment, one for post. And post URI, then data. I think it will handle converting the thing to JSON if I'm not mistaken. Hopefully. Yeah, let's give this a shot. So let's make a test screen. Test. Actually, this can be. Yeah, we'll make it test screen. And we'll make the initial route test. Oops. Yeah. Okay. We'll start the emulator. I actually have to add that as a capture source. Haven't used it in quite a while. Window capture. Emulator. Okay. Okay. We're building. This part takes a while. There we go. And let's just, we should probably put a scaffold here. And we'll fill it with a column. Actually, let's do something like render test widget. Or build test widget. And if it's nothing, we'll build a container. Okay. We'll make the background color for this screen in particular just white. Okay, and we'll center an async icon, and we'll just do like the Flutter dash here, and this will give us an opportunity to test our server. That's what it's called. Oh, another thing I want to do. So, it would be cool if we also had a version that returned it as a table. So like right now, this would just return like a map, you know, just straight JSON. But this way, we can do the get stuff. All of that. We expect to get some JSON. And then using our type, we can get the table, which will then have our JSON parsing code. So it's table converter of this type. We expect to get a table. Oops. If the table is null, we're going to want to get an exception, because that means that we fucked something up. And T will extend drift weaver. As T. Oh, actually, this can be nullable. We might not get anything at all. So if JSON is null, and we're going to want basically an identical thing for post. Post. There we go. Let's actually leave this as var, even though it's uglier, just because then we don't actually have to import drift. It's a little uglier, but safer at the end of the day, just in case something changes. Okay, back to test. And we will see what happens when we do server utils get table product, and we called it UPC, and then we'll just grab a code from the database, just one that exists. Product, limit to 10. What's a good one? Hilarious that Campbell Soup was the first one that popped up. Our favorite testing, our favorite test value, Campbell Soup. That's funny. So what's the problem? Value of type shift Uber can't be assigned to the type product. That is true. That is true. Can I just cast it? See how that goes. And I can't see this thing at all, so we gotta change the color to black. I still don't see it on my screen anywhere. System cannot find. Oh. So we can make database current.dart and then database next.dart. And we can leave them blank for now, I think. There we go. Table for type Driftweaver not found. This is a subclass of Driftweaver. You can tell because it says extends Driftweaver. What's the problem here? ChatGPT, do you know? Because I actually don't know how to fix this. Whoops. That's it. That's all I had to do. Null check operator used. On a null value. Is it because of these? Run it again, make it nullable. This dynamic is not a subtype of type string. I assume it's referring to this. They are clearly strings, though. Oh, actually, it grabbed it as a list. Because we're using binary JSON. Oh. Okay, so what's happening here is this server, previously, I didn't use binary JSON for stuff like this. I used it just as a plain string. Excuse me. And that is now becoming a problem because it's expecting it to be a string. But actually, that's not terrible. We can work with this. Yeah, we just actually have to go into JSON helpers and do the conversion where we just check if it's a string first. Where do I even do that? It's been so long. No, not there. I might just have that directly in the generator. Which is kind of amusing. Text to enum, nope. Yeah, list from JSON. Yeah, list from JSON. Okay. So really this should be dynamic. Let's bring this out so that we could test it in a working thing. Okay, so not dynamic. So if it's null, if value is list already, return yeah. Okay. And then if value is a nullable string, or rather if it isn't, we'll pull that out. Okay, and now if we go back to our code generator here, might now work. Oh, well. There. We'll have to do the same thing for the map, but this should work well enough for now. Can delete this, hopefully. Go back here. And then this will stay the same. But this will update. And that should be enclosed in some braces. Easy enough to do. Just added braces over here on the other side. Whoops, deleted too much. Here we go. Yeah. Okay. And I think now we can try this again. And hopefully it casts it now correctly. Yep. Okay, so now we just have to do the same thing to maps. Easy enough. Come back over here and map from JSON. So if value is map, then we cast it. Then if it's not a string, then we do that. Okay, so apparently you can do is not like that, which is pretty cool. I didn't know that that was shorthand. Thank you, ChatGPT. Guess it knows more than I do. Okay, build it again. We can remove this, although this entire file will get overridden, so it doesn't matter. We'll wait for it to regenerate. Okay. Nope. We already dealt with that by checking if it's null up here. So we can do a definitely not null thing. Wait for this to rebuild again. And in a second, we'll see that little exclamation point pop up. There we go. Okay. Compiler's happy. Try it again. See if we get any runtime errors. Okay. It's not a subtype of string. Oh, did I not set that to dynamic? Or did I just never actually... Seems I never dragged it over. Here, I'll bring up both things so that you can see everything. So we're apparently working on this for a bit. Okay. And we do it again. There we go. And I guess we forgot that bang here. Although it shouldn't matter. Apparently it does for this one. I'm not sure why. Why this one is cool with it. But this one isn't. I checked for a null up here, so I really don't know why it throws a conniption, but whatever. Okay. Reset the emulator. And there we go. We finally get our database product. You see over here, it's been returning one row the whole time. And theoretically, if we inspect this object, this product, and grab the name, we should see tomato soup. Tomato condensed soup. Wonderful. There you have it. Easy peasy. Awesome. Now we have a really, really quick way to grab any sort of table entry that we want. As long as we only want one. So I guess we'll also need to get table many if we expect multiple of them. But we'll work on that later. Let's move this around. Okay, and we'll go back to our main screen here and actually add it in. Okay, so I'm actually not 100% sure if our happy little barcode scanner UPC code that we added in even is in our database here. So let's find out. Well, I guess we could very easily find out just by hooking it up. No need to test it ahead of time. So we go to barcode confirmation. And we do get product. Product. Nope, not what we want. Await server utils. Get table. Product. ChatGPT, you're really fucking me up here. Product. UPC barcode. We will have to check in the future if it actually is UPC, but works well enough. So product, get product. We can remove this. And we'll wrap this in a try block. And just say that there was an error. Let's actually report it to debug print. And then debug print stack. And then we'll want to set state, where searching is false. Okay. Excuse me. Sniffle. So if we have an error, we will want it to say there was an error. How about error? And we'll color it with, we'll need our app color scheme. Okay, app color scheme and then error. And then we'll add the text error fetching product. And then if product is null, we'll do another thing where we'll say didn't find product. Which this can just be a warning. No matching product found. Okay. And then if it is real, we'll just display the product name right now. Yeah, just for shorthand. Error. What's wrong? I didn't make it final. Who said it was final? Oh, this dot error. My bad. This is final. You're right. Okay. And now let's see if we get our soup. Or the camera will refuse to load. That's okay. Crashed our device. Love emulators. They work so well. Okay. Try it again. Create food. Barcode. Please launch. Not interested, huh? If I just fully reset everything, will you cooperate? It says it's using the camera, but not really. Not sure why. It doesn't say it had any problem knitting anything. Let's check our camera code. I just like don't do an image stream. Will that help? Crashes the device. Will that? Oh, my foot's asleep. Ow. I get really bad pins and needles when my feet fall asleep. Don't know why. Always have. Hurts like hell. Ah. Okay, it seems I'm just going to have to reset the emulator, I guess. It's pretty stupid. I actually don't know what happens if you restart an emulator like this. I've never done that. Apparently breaks it. Oh, it actually came back. That's cool. Okay. I didn't expect that to work at all. Okay. Oh, my music stopped. We're also out of my playlist again. Yes, of course we are. Please activate the camera. Nope. Not gonna do it. For literally no reason. Man, working with emulators sucks. I'd like to test it on my phone, but then you guys wouldn't be able to see the screen. Okay. There we go. Error. Why did we get an error? Oh, right, because we made it that 404 stuff. So if error is DO exception, error status code, what is it? Error response status code equals 404. Then return. And we got nothing. I guess we can just dupe this. Okay, so this doesn't exist in our database. We got a 404. I guess we can confirm it. Where UPC is 492.121.805.884. And we get nothing. Okay, so I guess this isn't in any of the data then. So if I open up branded food, oh boy. Okay. Yeah. Is discontinued by manufacturer. Okay, so this might just be old and that's why it's not coming up. But it's not discontinued, okay. Although I do get all of this in Spanish, which is random. This is expensive. $99 a month. Just to look up our UPC database. Like, you don't actually have any real information on the thing, right? I guess you could tell me where to buy it. If I look up Campbell's tomato soup, will this one appear? Okay, so this one's in there. Well, that's good at least. It's actually in there several times. So whatever good that is to us. So let's grab this barcode instead. Oh. Oh, have fun. Let's get rid of those. So I guess I forgot to make the rows in here. Nice. Just say 8 pixels and then center it that way. It should be good. And replace the table image. And we're back to this shit not working. Okay. Oh, whoops. Not Chrome. Where is this even starting? Oh, it just failed. Okay, cool. It's gonna get annoying if every time we have to use the barcode scanner, we gotta reboot the goddamn emulator. I don't know what the hell its problem is. I'll have to run this on a physical device just to make sure it's not, you know, my code, but I think it's just the emulator. Alright, so hopefully we get tomato soup. Oh. Is this a cat? Cute. Tomato condensed soup. Amazing. Alright. So now we got our tomato soup going. Alright. So now we can actually start making this stuff. And we might even be able to use our nutrition. There was like a macro little thing I thought we made. Basic macro display. That was it. And then nutrition. We'll only run this if nutrition isn't null. How about that? And we'll actually pull down the product here just so we're not dealing with nullables everywhere. Cool. I would probably put them next to each other. Maybe we can force that. Theoretically, if I change this to flex and then give it a direction, say normally it should be vertical, and we'll also make this as small as can be. And horizontal. Okay, close. Main axis size, if we make, oop. Didn't even know I had a second desktop open. My bad. There we go. It is weirdly off to the left, but that's fine. And then we'll just do adaptive text, product, serving size text. Hi. How long have I been working with Flutter? Oh man, I have no idea. Really long time. I want to say almost 2020. Way before it went null safety, full null safety, and you still had to use the new keyword to create any sort of new object. Man, how long ago was that? I don't even think we were on Flutter 2 yet. So quite a while. I want to say around here. 2020. It's a great SDK. I really quite like it. Well, that's a garbage value here. So mostly for mobile apps, but I also use it for web as well. It's actually a really good time. I don't know if you use Flutter yourself or you're just curious about it. But now it's actually a really good time to start using Flutter for web because they just, in the latest major update, added a cool little flag enabling hot reload on web, making web development much, much better. If you have shied away from using it for web before because of that reason, I recommend giving it another shot. It works pretty well. Man, I wish that product had looked nicer. Let's check out what's in the database. Do you use Flutter or just curious? Five, 1 0 0 0 0. It's a lot of zeros. 8 4. Oh, cool. Nice. This isn't my full-time job. This is just a side project, but I'm pretty much a solo dev at my real job. And we mostly cater to iPad, but we do have a web version we're trying to get on Android as well. It's been going pretty well. I've been maintaining that app for about like 4 years. Yeah, amount serving. It's garbage data. I gotta find a new data set because this USDA shit is terrible. But I've been saying that for like weeks. Why didn't it grab this one? This would have been fine for serving size. Oh, it's this one that I grabbed. So I live in the US. Is it hard to find a job as a strong junior? Somewhat, especially now. So Flutter isn't. There aren't a lot of Flutter jobs I find in the US, and they are pretty much all for mobile. I don't really know. You're asking at a really odd time because the entire industry is sort of on its head, given with AI and ChatGPT. For lower level stuff, there seem not to be hiring as many. It's sort of a bit on a freeze as everyone tries to figure out what part of AI is sticking and what isn't. So, is it hard? Yeah, depending on where you want to go. I don't actually work for a tech company. I just do software engineering for them, and that I have found to be pretty successful. You don't get paid as much as you would at a software company, but you it's at least easier to get your foot in the door, and I've had a lot of success there. They've given me a lot of responsibility. Like I said, I'm a solo dev. That Flutter project that I mentioned is like 500,000 lines of code and is used by about 80 people in the company. So they give me a lot of shit to do at least. I guess we'll just have to fix the data and we'll just trust that we can leave this alone for now. We may even just want to keep this as wide as possible because it looks kind of ugly. So if product doesn't equal null, on tap, yep. And to food methods makes enough sense to me. Where are you, if you don't mind me asking? Just like country-wise, you don't have to be more specific than that if you don't want to. Return food. Okay. User ID we always get just through the creation. So we'll do name. This is required, so we'll just do unknown. Nutrition. And brand is brand. And should work well enough for now. Kazakhstan, cool. Wow. Fortunately, I've never been, but I did have a friend in college who was from there. I haven't spoken to her in a long time, but very cool. Yeah. I imagine this AI stuff is going to be everywhere. Now, maybe in a country that doesn't have English as its main language, you may have a little bit more success for the AI just because the AI is, most of its data is in English, but coding is pretty much all in English, so I don't know how well you do there. But yeah, unfortunately, it's just kind of a mess in the whole industry. It's oversaturated in pretty much every respect. I found people kind of chase the money, and now there's too many people. That's with every industry. People get kind of weeded out over time. Okay, add to meal. These text colors should not be white, probably. They should probably stay black. If we're gonna keep let's try that. There we go. And for this, let's just pretend the scanner screen is working due to crappy emulators. Food creation scanner. And we'll grab that barcode from here. Okay. And for some reason I made this final, which would normally a bit okay. Uh, let's call this scanned food. If scanned food doesn't equal, well, if it's null, then we'll just return. And this might be a silly way to do it, but this might work in the end. It at least keeps it as final. Not that I ever really care about that stuff. Okay. So it seems we shouldn't keep it final. Yeah, we'll just do it this way. That way it at least detects that this parameter is not the same, and then it reloads the widget. That'll do it. No? I thought it would. Is it because this is stateful? Widget.food.name. I expected that stuff to at least come online. Nutrition per serving, is that why? No, that should have been fine. Yeah, this initial value should have updated and then inserted it in, but it didn't. I guess we could do a did change dependencies, not did change dependencies, did update widget. Do it like that. No. But I also didn't hot reload, so give me a sec. Nope. There we go. All right, so now everything is coming in. Except for this, we had a mark needs rebuild during build. I don't know where I grabbed that from. Where am I accidentally calling set state too many times? Well, not so much anymore. I mean, it worked. We even got fiber, sodium. These populated too, which is nice. Not sure where this extra set state is coming from. I don't have any set states in any of the build methods that I can see, unless I'm just blind. Uh, oh, you know what it could be? Is it calling the validator? Is that the problem? The validator should be null. Yeah. There should basically be nothing actually calling set state here. What's the problem? Weird. Anyway, let's go back to this query. I want to take a look at... Oh, well... Here, okay. Is this an accurate number of grams? Should be. That sounds right to me. Yeah, if I recall, I think this is forced into grams just by the data set. So that works. This part failed to refresh though. I guess we should save our food. And then when we're done with it, we should add it to whatever that map was down here. Nutrition controller. And then call set state. Right? Is set state a thing? This dot set state. There we go. Do I use this anywhere? No, right? I do use this. I do use that. Okay. Okay, if this works, then I think we're done for today. Yep, there we go. Perfect. Okay, that worked really well. Actually, I think this can be const. Let's check. Nope. So we'll do the unique key to force it to reload, and now it should work again. Sweet. Okay. All right, so I forgot about this. Thanks, Alex. All right, to do add food to meal slots. Okay, and that's what we'll do next time. I think today was pretty successful. Barcode scanner scans. And we'll even do a commit on the server. Can grab product. Sweet. And we'll want to do an init here. Git add, git commit. Actually, just in case, let's bring this out here. I don't know if that will matter, but init. Yeah, we'll raid. I'm just finishing up this stuff. Although I can do this when we're in a raid. Let's pick someone. You know what? We haven't been to Siegen in a long time. Let's raid Siegen. All right, everyone. I'll see you there. Bye-bye.